Hey everyone, it's Ash from SuperVideos. Welcome back to the channel. Let's break it down. The Walking Dead universe introduced two of the most powerful factions late in the game. The Civic Republic Military, or CRM, and the Commonwealth. But here's the problem. Both groups are massive, well organized, and existed for years before we even heard about them. How does that timeline make sense when you compare it to our survivors' journey? Let's revisit this story from the very beginning and break down all the inconsistencies in how the CRM and Commonwealth fit, or fail to fit, into this world. Stay tuned, we'll be right back to break it down. Alright, as always, before we dive into it, smash the like button, subscribe to join our community, and press the bell to be notified when I upload on the channel. With that said, let's dive right into it. When The Ones Who Live revealed that the CRM was formed after the bombing of Atlanta, it tied their origins to the Pennsylvania National Guard and their rebellion against Operation Cobalt. That helps explain why they weren't involved early on. But by the time Rick and the survivors left Atlanta, the CRM was already growing into a militarized powerhouse. Meanwhile, the Commonwealth, with its population of 50,000 and sprawling infrastructure, must have been forming around the same time. If both groups were expanding their reach, how was it that neither faction crossed paths with each other, or with any of our survivors? At this point, Rick's group is small and mobile, so maybe they weren't worth the CRM or Commonwealth's attention. But wouldn't a faction as organized as the CRM specifically have been keeping tabs on urban centers like Atlanta, especially if their goal was to control populations? And what about the Commonwealth? If they were recruiting survivors for their large community, wouldn't they have scouted nearby areas like Georgia? Let's move ahead to Herschel's farm, a rural, open location that's hard to miss. By now, the CRM would have had like helicopters and scouts in operation, monitoring areas like this for survivors. And even if CRM didn't interact with the group, their presence should have been felt in the background. Then there's the prison, a large fortified structure like this would be a prime location for either the CRM or Commonwealth to notice. The Commonwealth in particular, given their focus on rebuilding civilization, would likely have been searching for places like the prison to secure or recruit survivors. Yet once again, neither group makes any appearance or is even hinted at. Then we have Woodbury, a walled community led by the governor. This wasn't just a small camp, it was an organized settlement with functioning walls, electricity, and resources. A faction like the Commonwealth, with its focus on large-scale recruitment, should have known about Woodbury and tried to integrate it, or at least had some level of interaction. And let's not forget about CRM. The CRM would be all over Woodbury. We all know what they like to do to small communities that like to expand, to groups that have leaders that think beyond just keeping control of the settlement that they control and like to expand their settlements. And we know that the government was all about expanding. And then let's move on to Terminus. How did both the CRM and the Commonwealth miss this? Terminus was actively broadcasting messages to lure survivors. The CRM had helicopters and scouts. The Commonwealth was building a utopia by recruiting skilled people. How did neither faction notice a community of cannibals operating on such a large scale? By the time Alexandria, Hilltop, and Kingdom were established, both the CRM and Commonwealth were likely operating at full force. Alexandria in particular was close to Washington, D.C., making it hard to believe the CRM particularly wouldn't have noticed or tried to interact. And let's not forget about Hilltop, a community built around agriculture. which the Commonwealth would have found extremely valuable. Meanwhile, the kingdom had a strong leader and growing infrastructure. These communities were thriving and clearly on radar of local survivors. So how did the CRM and Commonwealth stay oblivious to them? The Saviors' War was a massive event that spanned multiple communities. If the CRM or Commonwealth were scouting the area, how could they have missed the conflict between Negan's forces and Alexandria? This wasn't just a minor skirmish. It was a full-scale war with consequences that reshaped the survivors' world. And before you even say anything about CRM's involvement at that time, don't forget, when Rick saw the CRM helicopter the first time, we were in the middle of the war with the Saviors. So we know that they were around, and they were communicating with Jadis. And then there's the Whispers, a group that weaponized hordes of walkers would have posed a direct threat to both the CRM and the Commonwealth. Yet, there's no mention to these factions taking notice or intervening, even though their missions were supposedly about protecting and rebuilding humanity. When the Commonwealth is finally introduced, it's clear they've been operational for a very long time, likely since the early days of the apocalypse. Their pristine streets, advanced technology, and organized government suggests they've been recruiting survivors for years. So why didn't they cross paths with the CRM? Two factions this large, operating in similar areas, should have at least been aware of each other. Did they have a truce, a rivalry, or did the writers simply not think this through? By introducing the CRM and Commonwealth as separate entities with no connections, the world of The Walking Dead starts to feel fragmented and inconsistent. Here's the truth. The CRM and Commonwealth were late additions to The Walking Dead, even though the Commonwealth was in the comics. Their stories was designed to expand the world of The Walking Dead beyond the main series. But their introduction feels rushed and disconnected. The CRM's timeline is murky, and the Commonwealth's existence raised even more questions. Were these factions added too late to fit seamlessly into the show's narrative? Or did the writers simply overlook the impact these groups should have had on earlier events? Was it incompetence, or were they just scrambling to fill in gaps after Andrew Lincoln left the series? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. How do you think the CRM and Commonwealth should have been integrated into the story? Even though, yes, the CRM was not a story that they wanted to tell from the beginning. I feel they should have at least had done some thinking and some clever storytelling to have them integrate into the story more seamlessly and in a way that doesn't really introduce this many plot holes when you look back at past events. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button, subscribe to join our community, and press the bell to be notified when I upload on the channel. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video.